Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Holt Outdoors Podcast. I am your host, Brennan Holt, and I'm sitting here this morning. We've got a great guest on the line. I'm looking forward to having this conversation with him, and I think everybody out there will learn something from him. So can't wait to do this. Let's not wait any longer, and let's get Mr. David Roscoe on the line. Hey, David, how's it going, man?
Doing well, Brendan. You doing good?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's hot and dry up here in Missouri. I don't know what it's like out there where you're at, but it's definitely feeling like middle of August, you know?
Oh, yeah. It's been pretty hot here. We've had a little break in the last week or so, but we're getting a lot of rain, so.
Oh, yeah.
You can get, right?
Yeah, we need some rain right now. We've been pretty good on rainfall all early summer and everything, but here in the last couple of weeks, it's really started to slow down. But well, I really appreciate you coming on here, man.
Honored, man. Honored. Very, very humbling experience.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to have you, and I'm sure everybody listening or watching is going to enjoy this one. So if you don't mind, let's learn a little bit about you and your story. So kind of just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is David Roscoe. I'm from Chesterfield, South Carolina, small town, and I'm just a sinner saved by grace. I could go on and mention everything else that we do, but all this other stuff is just a bonus to what God's already done for us in the Lord Jesus Christ. And so everything I get to speak of and talk about is just and do with my family. It's just an extra bonus for what God has done for me. I'm married. My wife, Whitney. I have an 11-year-old daughter that just turned 32, and she's very smart for her age. Her name is Olivia. I have a son who is he just turned 9. Very active in the sport of coon hunting, both of them. My wife, not so much. She goes with us. She goes with us to some of the hunts, and she's a nurse, so she kind of works on the weekends. But we enjoy it, and a lot of people ask, what does the 4R stand for? Well, there's 4 Roscoes in our home, and it was just something that we just put together, something to, maybe one day my kids would benefit from.
Sure.
I'm 43 years old. I'm a veteran. Served in the Marines, served in the Army, went to Iraq, went to Afghanistan, and and then God called me into the ministry. I would say about 8 years ago. Went full time into ministry, doing something all the time in the ministry.
Yeah.
We started out in the jail ministry. We did that about 6 years, and then went on to pastor a couple churches. But my heart's always been in evangelism, not necessarily preaching revivals as most people think about evangelism, but just everyday life, telling people about Jesus wherever we go. That made the big difference in my life. I was an alcoholic, drug addict, spent time behind the walls of a prison, and so God's done great things in my life, and I give Him all the glory and honor for that. And then so be it. He led us into coon hunting, and I grew up in a coon hunting family. I guess you would say I'm something like a 3rd generation coon hunter. My granddad was a full-fledged coon hunter, man, and I remember going with him as a young boy and tromping through the woods, and he toting my brother and I through the woods. And my dad coon hunting. My stepdad, who raised me, was a big time coon hunter. Not necessarily competition coon hunters, but they loved pleasure hunting. I mean, they were 6-7 nights they didn't hunt on Sunday night, but 6 nights a week, and
Yeah.
Man, I remember them having dogs, and how they made it look so easy as a boy. Drop the tailgate and dogs jump out and go tree a coon.
Yeah.
I thought, man, this is pretty easy looking back on it and remembering it. But
Yeah.
my grandpa had a stroke whenever I'd say I was about 10, 11 years old, and the coon hunting kind of stopped a little bit around the house, and it was just kind of one of those things he was the center of. And then as I got older, I got interested in sports and girls, all other types of things. So it kind of died out for me for a long time. And just kind of how I got back into it, a good friend of mine, Case Aldridge, neighbors with my mom and dad, he was coon hunting a little bit, and I seen some videos of him coon hunting, and I'm like, man, I'd like to go coon hunting. We were deer hunting at the time, and man, I'd like to go coon hunting with you. He said, well, bring Luke, and I brought my boy, and we went that night. And as we went to that first tree, man, all I could remember was those times in the woods with my dad and with my grandpa, and the first time I carried my son over a creek that night. The memories just started coming back. Man, I can't believe I missed out on this for so long, because I've only been started back coon hunting for 5 years, and I'm 43. And so, man, I mean, it was just those, they say it's in our blood, and I believe it, man, because that very first night going to that tree and with Case and Loretta, belly up on a tree, toting my little boy through those woods. I was like, he looked at me, and then he was like, Daddy, this I like this. I don't have to be quiet coon hunting like I do when I'm deer hunting.
Yeah.
And I think I like it too. So we got rid of everything deer hunting and started looking for a coon dog the very next day. And so been 110% ever since then.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. I know you kind of dove into how you got started in the coon hunting there. Let's go a little more in detail on that. So what kind of dogs were you hunting whenever you was a kid, or what kind of dogs was your family hunting when you was a kid?
I remember my grandpa. I only remember Walker dogs. I know I've heard people talk about in the earlier times he had some, some different type dogs. But I remember the Walker dogs. I remember my dad having this Walker dog named Cookie, and my granddad having this dog named Crybaby, and then a real good friend of the family, preacher Johnny Tadlock. He was, we just come up around coon hunters, and so they all hunted Walkers with a red bone mixed in here and there. So that's kind of where we went when we started back.
What years thereabout would this been?
Whenever I was, I guess, in the early 90s, early 90s, late 80s as a young boy.
Okay. Yeah. And then as you got older, you kept hunting Walker dogs, I assume, and just got better and better at hunting more often and maybe training your own dogs.
But we started back about 5 years ago. Was we took like I said, I didn't coon hunt from the time I was 10 years old to about 38.
Oh man, yeah.
There's a big gap there. Whenever I just wasn't interested, I used to give my dad a hard time about being a houndsman. I never thought I'd own a coon dog, much less do what we're doing now. But the Lord has a funny way of bringing things full circle.
Yeah. Well, I have a question for you then. So what is it like, looking back at those old times, and then now you've just recently got back into it in the last 5 years. What is it, compare the dogs or the experience, just all of it. What's it like when you think back then versus what it's like now that you've just recently got back into it?
Well, I found out real quick that it wasn't as easy as it looked as a young boy.
Yeah.
They would go and I guess you'd call it dump the dogs. I don't really remember them walking the dogs off into the woods. I mean, we just pull up to a spot and a creek somewhere, and you didn't really have to go around and ask for permission. You could just coon hunt wherever you wanted to back then, and just creek, and they'd jump out and open those doors to the box. And the dogs didn't need any coaching; they didn't need any direction. I mean, they went, they treed coons, and I remember back then that most of the time the dogs were together, packed up, and that's what folks liked around here.
Yeah.
But I just remember seeing going coon hunting every night. We would go coon hunting. I remember treating coons, and it looked easy, man. It looked easy until you got a dog of your own, and then you realize, man, they put in a lot of work into that. The things that we didn't see. So
yeah, I don't know what it is about like human nature, maybe, but I a lot of the time am thinking back to when I was in high school, and I'm like, man, I don't feel like I used to struggle as much, with those dogs. But I don't know. I think maybe we're guilty sometimes of building up the ones that aren't no longer around, and not to say they weren't good, at least my dogs back in them days. But I know for one, I wasn't hunting near as much back then, like not near as much in the summer for sure. But I don't know. It's just something that it seems like as time goes on, you're like, you really make the ones of the old days into more than what they maybe were, or you just misremember it. But then I'm really hard on myself now, because I'm like, man, I just can't get this dog to do what I want him to do.
Right. I understand that completely. You think back on those dogs, and you think about the way that they operated, and then you look at the dogs that were hunting today. Seems like I do a lot of hunting by myself. If I'm not by myself, I got my little boy with me, or Case, and or we're either going to a competition hunt.
Yeah.
But we, like I said, I went with Case that night, and he had a dog named Loretta, and she would give to him. Didn't have any papers. Didn't have anything. And when he first got her, she wasn't doing anything. He spent that was when COVID had come through, and everything was shut down. So he was going through a tough time, and him and that dog bonded, and finally got her where she was treating coons, and then and he got family situation dynamics. Got 3 young kids. He ain't able to hunt like he was. So I've had her for over a year now.
Mm-hmm.
And I treated my first coon with when I started coon hunting.
Yeah.
And just to see her being able to go out by herself, not needing another dog, I enjoy that time.
Yeah. It's really, it's all worth it whenever it finally does click, and you got something that you like and that operates good and trees you coons. It's all worth it at that point. But so I guess if you don't mind, what are you hunting right now? Like, give me some, how's the bred and what you like and stuff about what you're hunting now.
Well, my first dog that I owned was a dog I went and got from the pound. I was getting ready to go buy a little $800 puppy, and I looked online, and it happened to be on Facebook. Scrolled through, and there was this nice little Walker female young pup at the county animal service center.
Mm-hmm.
So I dog and hunted that dog for a little bit, and learning the ropes, and learning a lot by failure on my part and the dog's part. And then a local fella here that owns Clearwater's Hunting Supply, Mr. Johnny Chisholm, called me, and I knew that me and my kids was hunting pretty good. And he gave us a dog, and that really taught me more about coon hunting than and a dog than anything. And it was a stylish little whitey. A pup off of Dylan Everly's dog up in Ohio, I believe.
Yeah.
Started hunting. We called him White Boy Rip, and we started hunting him. He's a clover bred dog, and And I really liked a clover bred dog just because I like that white dog, man. It's just something about him grabs my attention, and I enjoyed those, and I learned a lot with him. And but he wasn't what you'd call good for competition. He didn't have really a loud mouth. I think he maybe have barked it out as a pup or something because he had that issue of barking in the kennel like crazy. Had to keep a bark collar on him, and then if he felt like barking, he would go through that. And so, and then I started hunting Loretta for Case, and I don't know what she's out of, man. I couldn't tell you. We single registered her. She's single registered as a crossbreed. And we've won some hunts with her. My son won the ACHA Junior World Hunt down in Alabama with her this past April.
Wow.
And, and that was big for us, knowing that, we don't know what she's out of. And it's always get a kick out of that going and win a little small hunt or something like that. And I start asking what she's out of. And like, I have a clue, but we know she's a wild dog. I mean, you can tell by looks, but it's a good topic and a good kick, good laugh whenever fellas got them high priced dogs and they lose to a that was given to you for free. And so,
absolutely.
She's the one going to be pushing here especially this year, and trying to do a few things with. But my son has and one we're really excited about. We have a Mojo semen female off of Mojo and a bushwhacker female, and if I'm not mistaken, I think that came out of Oklahoma, and a local fella here by the name of Blake Reynolds. We've been really blessed. I haven't bought a coon dog yet. So we got he paid good money for this little female, and he had her up until she was about 6 months old. And he called me one day, and he knows my son and my daughter love to coon hunt. And he asked me if my son would be interested in that little Mojo female, and I'm like, absolutely, but I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't afford. He said, I asked you, would your son be interested in her? And I said, yeah, he'd be interested. He said, well, come get her. And so we got this nice little female. She started treeing coons at the end of April. We don't hunt in the summertime here. A couple years back, I got that Rocky Mountain spotted fever in the summertime, and killed a dog hunting hot 92 degrees one night, and then my wife don't give me too much of a hard time in the fall and in the winter, and so she expects me to take that summertime off. So we got that Mojo female. She's coming along strong. Then we got another really nice bred dog off of Frogger and a Rat Attack female that we're going to be pushing this fall, getting these young dogs going. And that's what I really like, man. I like taking a dog that's not doing anything and seeing those small accomplishments night after night. And then all of a sudden, they're belly up on a tree. I just think that's priceless, man.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that leads me to kind of my next topic is starting pups. I think a lot of people they want to start their own pup, and what I like about our show is I try to ask everyone how they do things. That way, all the listeners can get an opinion from multiple different people, because what works for one guy may not work for another guy, and especially when you factor in the different terrain. I may talk to somebody from Oklahoma, and then I may talk to you. You're out there, near the East Coast. So if you don't mind, explain your terrain a little bit, like what kind of ground you're hunting on, and then tell me how you like to kind of start pups from start to finish.
Well, we hunt where I'm at. There's a lot of swamps, very thick hunting, briars. We have some state land that we get to go and hunt on, and it's kind of hilly, and so you got. I don't really have what I would call a good hunt spot. I've got a few casts and guys that do nothing but complain the whole time, It's kind of tough. We got a lot of coyotes here, a lot of hogs, and so the way I like to start a pup is, and I take all those things into consideration. I would love to have a pup that's running and treeing at 5-6 months old and ready for the super stakes and all that stuff. But as I started coon hunting, I began to ask, these older fellas, how they started their pup, and I'll just, jump right here and say I'm no expert at all. I'm still a novice at this thing, but I take that advice from these older guys and try to pay attention to it, because I remember them having good dogs, and so I don't really start a dog until they're a year old. Maybe 10 months. I mean, 10 months at the earliest. I just feel like there's so many things that they could get into. And, once you build a bond with these dogs, I mean, for me, like with my kids, I mean, they're out there with these dogs every day. And so, we build a bond with them, and I sure don't want to put them out there before they're not ready. So having a dog that's hunting and treeing a coon at 7 and 8 months old, that, I mean, it'd be nice, but it doesn't excite me to the point where I'm going to put one in danger to do it, because like I've had coyotes run dogs out of the woods down here. I've had them get jumped on by hogs, and a small dog, a young dog, don't know how to handle herself in that type of situation.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And so I wait till they're about a year old, and then I start taking them. I've done a few different things. Showed them cage coon, and I believe I've messed one up by doing that too much when I first started out. And so, but my goal now is to find that natural coon dog, the one who just is that instinct, the one who has it from the word go.
Yeah.
And I'm not doing too much with the cage coon or turning one out. I'm just taking them hunting and going from there, because that's what I'm looking for at this stage. I want a natural coon treeing coon dog, and I want one that I don't have to do too much with, and I know it might take me a long time to get there, but like I said, I'm not really in this thing for me. It's more or less for my kids. I want them to be able to one day look back on a dog that they're hunting and say, I remember this dog's grandpa, or I remember this dog's daddy when me and my dad was hunting. And so I'm looking for that natural coon dog that we can build off our kennel, so that my kids can enjoy that one day.
Yeah, no, I think that's a great way to put it. And to each their own, as far as what somebody wants out of a dog, but natural is you can't go wrong with looking for one that's natural. If you want to show your dog some cage coons and try to get that spark, sure. But I tend to agree with you. I think the ones that maybe are going to show you success consistently over the long run are probably going to be them ones that just pick it up naturally, and that you don't really have to tweak on or push a whole lot. They got that drive, and they got that natural ability.
Right.
I guess, as far as starting pups, whenever you're starting them, are you just like hunting them with other dogs, or do you make it a point to try to get them to start on their own, going hunting on their own? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I mix it up a little bit and it kind of depends. It kind of depends on what the dog will do. Like the Frogger female, I'll send her with another dog, a dog that I trust, and one that's not going to be ill, because I tried to cut her loose a couple times by herself, and I'll start them off to see if they'll go by themselves. But I'm not going to shock them and force and all that to go by themselves. Like I said, I want that one who wants to do it. And so with her, it's kind of a different approach. I mix it up on her a good bit, take her out, and sometimes when I cut her loose by herself, she won't go, and then sometimes she will. But now that Mojo female, man, she's wired like 440. I mean, she's, you unsnap her. I mean, it's like wrestling a steer trying to get the man, and she's just ready to go. So with her, kind of different. And you hear people say all the time, them dogs are like kids, or I like to say kids are like dogs. But treat everyone different, and that's the truth. And that's why I love these podcasts, man. I listen to yours, listen to some others, and man, you gain valuable information that's taught me a lot about how to deal with the dog. And you just got to know that dog and learn that dog. And so, it depends on whether that dog will go or not. If it'll go hunt by itself, if it'll go, whether it's hunting or not, if it'll just take off, 400 or 500 yards, I'll keep leave it by itself. But if it needs a little help there to get started, I got one I call Little Joe. My dad bought him for us at the chicken sale for $45, and kids have won ACHA bench shows with. They've won treeing contest all over the place with him. I put him in his first hunt at a 1.5 years old, and he won that first hunt that night and hadn't stuck but about 4 trees since. But he is a track-minded dog, and he's true on the track, but he just won't stay treed. And you can go there, and there'll be a coon in the tree where he was at, but he's off trailing and treeing again. And so he's real good with other dogs. So I'll let him take that pup and just go running, and hope for that pup to fall off on something,
Yeah. No, it's really hard to get one. There'll never be one perfect, but to get one that's just like does it all really well, every phase of it. It's just the more I'm hunting now, it's easy to realize you can have one that's a really good track dog, and then maybe on the nights where the coons aren't down, they're going to struggle. Or you could have one that's good at laying them up or whatever, but then they leave trees. Or man, it's just so hard to have one that just does it all really well. And that's what's fun, though, I guess, is just always striving for that. So,
and that's why they sell for $50,000.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Dog prices, it's crazy. Yeah. I guess as far as, well, let's move into 4R Kennels. This is what I was trying to think of. I was going to tell you before we go any further. I appreciate your service to the country. Really do. And thank you to all the people out there who served our country and to allow us to do what we do, like this podcast or going hunting. It really means a lot, and we appreciate it.
Oh yeah, and you're welcome, man. It was an honor to serve our country. I didn't always do everything right, but it turned out to be a blessing in the long run. So very grateful had that privilege to serve our country. Yeah.
Well, I want to talk to you about 4R Kennels, and I've been wearing that vest that you sent me, that chest pack, and the belt, and it's a really good product. I'm telling you right now. Anybody who's watching and listening to this, it's a good product. I don't know where you stand as far as how many you got or anything like that, but I'm telling everyone out there that thing is made well and it's comfortable and it holds up. So we can get into that if you want to, but just talk about your company, your plans, how it kind of started, just anything you want to as far as 4R Kennels and maybe the products that you're making.
Well, we make the majority of our stuff here. We source out a lot of things. There's some things we don't have the capabilities of doing right now, but I do make a mental note of the things I like, and I'm not the type of person to just jump head first and get $50,000 in debt and something before see if it's going to work or not. But
sure.
Hopefully one day we'll be able to make everything that we have in-house. And like I said, we're small. very small family run operation. I wouldn't say it's my company. I work for Olivia and Luke, and I work for free, man. But I wanted to start something for my kids because you can punch a clock for 40 years and every day of your life. I want my kids to see that there's something out there. There are things out there that you can do, that you can enjoy, and you can call it work and enjoy every day of your life. And so, but as far as the things that the gear that we make and the gear that we put out, a lot of people will be like, oh, they got their own stuff. They're making all this money and this and that and the other. Well, I can promise you this: we give more stuff away, and we're probably doing good just to break even, because this was birthed out of the idea to be able to support what we do in the youth ministry. And so we'll get into that in just a little bit. But we're very small in what we do, and a lot of times I've make orders as they come in. Have a few, we keep a few items on hand and try to have a few ready. But I've been, we first got started, people, I want to order this, and it come time for me to ship it, they were nowhere to be found. So I realized real quick, hey, we got to do something different here. But it's all been good though. And I think my favorite thing to do with this is to just take everyday things that we run into every day and turn it into some piece of coon hunting equipment. My wife says I have an addiction, and I do, man, because I look at a screwdriver and I figure out a way to make a coon squall out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so just little things like that, man. I just love the sport, man. I love the sport. I love interacting with coon hunters, but I really love interacting with the youth hunters. And so that's what everything that we do here, in some form or fashion, is to give back and to get more kids involved in coon hunting, because my kids love it. And I want them to be able to experience friendships in this thing of coon hunting down the road. But I want them to have good, hope this don't come out the wrong way, but I want to see them have good, morally, good character type of friends in coon hunting. And so, we build that through interaction with the kids. And so that's what we're all about. We do a monthly waffle, however you want to call it. And we do one a month, and all that goes to providing kids with coon hunting gear when we go out to these youth hunts. We'll be heading out to the Golden Triangle Youth Hunt on August the 16th up in Trinity, North Carolina. And, this is one of the prizes. We give away good stuff there. Superior Light. This is the Stingray Light. We give away a light. We give away Coon Squall. Coon Squall, we give away some of the crossbody lanyards and, leashes and things that we make. We nice, the sportsman Bibles. And so we go to clubs, and we don't charge the club anything, man. We go up, and all the kids in attendance get a chance to win, a real nice prize package. And so basically everything that we do, it goes back into the kids one way or the other.
Yeah, I think that's awesome. I mean, if you're a kid showing up to a hunt, it's going to make you like that much more apt to have a good experience if you walk away with something, whether it's a dog leash or a brand new light or whatever. So I think that's great. I mean, we gotta invest in the youth, for the sport to continue to go on the trajectory that it's on. And I think that's great. And like I said, I've got the lead strap that you sent me, all this stuff, and it's all really good products. I really like them.
Thank you. Yeah. I guess we go right into the youth ministry, because really it all revolves around that, if that's all right with you.
Yeah.
We what 4R Kennels is about is we go to youth hunts, and we've been North Carolina, South Carolina, we've been to Alabama, and we're booked up through the end of this year. And so we try to go to the smaller hunts when we hit some of the bigger hunts, but I believe a lot of the smaller hunts are oftentimes overlooked. Just the regular club youth hunt, and as far as people bringing stuff and people doing stuff, I mean, you see a lot of people out at the big hunts, promoting this and promoting that, but our goal is to hit the smaller hunts and to let these kids know that there's something bigger than them when it comes to coon hunting.
Yeah.
And when it comes to life in general, the way 4R Kennels was birthed, I guess you could say, is the Lord moving upon my heart and impressing me, with this idea. And so we were at a youth hunt, and we first getting started, getting our feet wet. A youth hunt, me and my family and my kids, and we were there as participants, as spectators, and there was a bunch of kids there, man, and so I just began to sit back, and I have a tendency to sit and listen and watch people, watch how they act, and it's just not that I'm trying to be judgmental or judge their actions or anything like that. I mean, just from my time in the military and spending time overseas, and it's ingrained in me to pay attention to my surroundings.
Sure.
I begin to see how a lot of kids are talked to, how a lot of kids are treated, and my heart broke. The Lord began to deal with my heart about these kids. And like I said, I was already in the ministry, and the Lord began to speak to my heart. And I mean, not in an audible voice, but impress upon my heart that these kids needed to hear the gospel, and they need to know that there is somebody that loves them, regardless of what they're going through at home. Because in our sport, a lot of the hunts go on late Saturday night, early into Sunday morning, and just quite honest, not a large percentage of our sportsmen can be found in church with their families on that Sunday morning. And so Lord just began to impress upon my heart to get the gospel to these kids. Well, I thought that for a little while, and Lord, what am I to do? We had a coon hunt. Am I supposed to go out here and, in the middle of these people trying to coon hunt and tell them about Jesus? And he said, absolutely. That's exactly what I want you to do. That's what you've been called out to do. And so I told my wife, I said, baby, I don't really know how we're going to go about this. I said, the Lord's impressing my heart about reaching these kids with the gospel. Mm-hmm. So I began to pray about it and began to seek Lord's guidance on it. And Lord impressed upon my heart, go to these coon hunts and give these kids a Bible. Well, I said, give, Lord, I'm not a rich man. I don't really know how I'm going to give away Bibles. I mean, you're talking about 50 Bibles almost at each event that you go to. And the Lord said, I want you to give them a Bible. I said, okay. And so I began to pray about it. It really got heavy on my heart. So I told my wife, I said, baby, I don't really know how to tell you this. I said, but the Lord has impressed upon my heart that we need to go to these coon hunts and give these kids a Bible. And her response was the same as mine. She said, give. She's like, how are we going to give away Bibles? I said, I don't know, baby. I said, but we're gonna have to do it. That's what the Lord wants me to do with this. And so we bought a couple cases of Bibles off of christianbook.com, the outreach Bibles. Mm-hmm. And we got some gear together, and down at Clearwaters, they allowed us to come in there and get a handful of stuff to take with us and try and help, offset some costs. But we went to our first one and gave out Bibles. And the next thing I know, man, there's people from all over. How can we help? How can we be a part of what's going on? And so people started giving, and And I'm not the type of person that just likes to take, so I began to think, I was like, I got some kind of skill. I can start making gear here at the house, and we can go and sell it. And these people who want to help out, that's how we'll fund this ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so within a year's time, we bought those first couple cases of Bibles. And so the first year, the Lord allowed us to give away over 500 Bibles.
Wow.
We didn't pay. We came out of pocket on those first ones. And
let me ask you, what's the people's, what are their responses whenever you are showing up and you're like, hey, we're gonna give Bibles away? What do you feel like in that moment?
It's it was a little I was a little nervous at first how it would be received.
Mm-hmm.
When you go to a coon hunt, man, ain't no telling here, and as well as I do, only people that cuss worse than sailors is coon hunters. And so we pulled up, and we're setting up, and people come over talking to us. Man, they using all kind of language, and then we break out the Bibles and lay them on the table, and they're like, "Oh man, talking to the preacher,"
Yeah.
And I don't never jump down nobody's throat for it. I let the Lord do all that talking, and
Mm-hmm.
and so we set up and we give out these Bibles, give them away to the kids, and then we have this grand prize drawing where we got all this nice gear. And I'm Baptist by denomination, so I've learned real good how to trick people into coming to church. You got to feed them, you got to do all this other type of stuff. And so I was like, well, if we can do that in the church, I said we can do this here at the coon hunt. And so I'll make it a point that to win the prizes, you have to be present.
Mm-hmm.
And so end of the hunt, before they go out and draw out on the cast, we bring them all back, all the kids, all the parents. We bring them all back, and before we do the drawing, we preach the message of the gospel of the Lord Jesus Christ. And so we and there, sometimes there's 10 or 15, and then sometimes there's been 125, 150 people gathered around this little old Walmart tent with these Bibles on a table, and the Lord graciously allows us to share the message of His gospel. And so.
Yeah.
It's been well received, man. I haven't had any issues whatsoever at all. People just, I've been blown away by it.
Yeah. Well, that's, you never know how you'll be received, but nonetheless, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that you're doing. And, I was saved at a young age and have always followed Jesus Christ. And my wife, she's getting baptized tomorrow, and so yeah, I feel like if people aren't leaning into Him, they definitely can. And what a better resource or person to tell their account of that than you. So. I didn't mean to interrupt you there, but I just curious how that's received. But yeah, go on. If you can remember where you left off, you can go ahead and go on.
We gave away 500 Bibles in the first year. We're coming up on our year anniversary of doing this. Well, actually, April was a year. We bought the first pack of Bibles, the first 80 Bibles.
Okay, that makes more sense.
And since those 80 Bibles, we haven't had to come out of pocket for a Bible. So, one thing I try to teach my kids is that when the Lord leads you to do something, just do it, and He will provide the way. And He has, man. I mean, through anonymous donors, through people buying our gear, through the monthly raffles, through just a whole, it's just unbelievable what God will use and who God will use to get his work accomplished. And so, and I won't go into great detail and names, but as I was struggling with how to do this and should I do this, I was going back and forth with God about this being kind of awkward, Somebody going to a coon hunt and preaching and giving out Bibles, there was a situation that took place in our home state, and I've told the gentleman that this took place with, that this instance, the tragedy that took place in his life, was what God used to really say, all right, I've got to do this. It's not just, do I want to do this, but I've got to do this. We had a young man that was really young boy, about my son's age at that time, that got killed in a hunting accident. And so this kid was a coon hunter, and he was at all the coon hunts. And after his death, the Lord said, I said, them kids need to hear about me. And so that really put it all into perspective. Like, we think about these children, that they got their whole life ahead of them. Whenever, in actuality, we only got what God's given us. He's got a plan for whatever. And some of us get to live a little longer than others, but none of us are guaranteed tomorrow, even these kids. And so that was the tipping point where I said, okay, Lord, whatever you want me to do with it, I'll do.
Yeah.
And got glory. The Lord's going to get glory out of every situation. He's in control of everything. And so, and that little boy's sister, a year later, she came and gave her life to Christ at one of the coon hunts that we were at, giving out Bibles and preaching the gospel. And so
Wow.
I'm just, always amazed at how God works in those situations.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great story, great thing to hear. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I really, my hat's off to you for everything that you're doing.
Glory, man.
How's it going nowadays? I mean, as far as just still kind of pressing on with that same idea, and just continuing to go to the hunts and do those things even still right now.
Right. We're like I said, we're booked up through January or through December. Last year we did two youth hunts a month. This year we tried to cut it back to one, because my kids are involved in sports now and all things, and I've got to make sure I make time for them as well. So we've cut it back to once a month. Some months we have two, but we plan to go with this through January, and then we got some things that we want to do around here. I'm sitting in my shop now. I'm trying to, a little storefront that we plan to open in October. I hadn't really, put that out on Facebook or anything yet. I like to have everything, I's dotted, T's crossed before I put an open sign on it. But,
Sure.
A little small storefront building here in our hometown. And then in the future, something that's really I would, like I said, we're really focused on the youth and the coon hunting. And I believe everything you do in life, you got to look and see how can you leave a mark on it. When we're breeding dogs, I had to learn this the hard way, but when we're breeding dogs, one of the things that should be a topic of our process, our thinking, how is this breeding going to impact the breed, right? How is it going to leave its mark on the breed? And also, while I'm in this thing of coon hunting, I look back, I look at my children. I want to know, is there anything that I can do now that's going to leave its mark on this sport in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, whatever. And so one of the things that I've been talking with my kids about, one of the things I've been talking with a few people here about, is maybe in the new year, start a coon hunting academy here. I don't know about you, but where I'm at, Dixie Youth Baseball and Travel Baseball and all those things, they get all the sponsorships, they get all the attention, and I tell my kid, a lot of kids ask my son, why don't he play baseball? He coon hunts in the spring. He can't be playing baseball. He's coon hunting. And I say, well, son, when you pull up in that new truck with a pocket full of money, I said, you how much they get from baseball. The little rings don't really matter. So we want to start up a youth coon hunting league here. A lot of our, we have the PKC, we have the UKC. But if you look at that, usually it's the same group of kids that are participating in those, and they're traveling around. And I've noticed that going to the hunts and things. But you know, I would love to have a youth coon hunting league for our area, and try to build the sport up locally. Because our local clubs, you know, you're lucky to have 3-4 dogs some nights. You know what I mean? And 9 times out of 10, you know, it's the same dogs every single time.
Right.
To breathe life into this sport, we're going to have to start somewhere, and I believe it's going to, you know, start with us investing more of our time into these kids. And nothing burns me up more than to take my kids to a youth hunt. And maybe you've experienced this. I'm not really sure, but I know a lot of guys that know what I'm talking about. You know, I'm tough on my kids. If you're going to be a competitor, then you're going to have to compete. I'm not going to compete for you. I'm not going to compete for you, and that's in everything. I can't go out on the football field and run the football for you. I can't go on the basketball court for my daughter and, you know, score a layup for her. And so when I'm out here in these woods and we're coon hunting, I'm not going to call you dog for you. We'll stand out there all night and listen to it bark before I call it for you.
Yeah.
And so one thing I taught my kids at a young age was to handle their dog, to be able to call their dog. I'm not going to help you whenever we cast. I'm going to stand back. And so, you know, I take my kids to these youth hunts, and they've been beaten by parents, basically. You know what I mean? And you know, but you know, me, I'm a little old school. I don't think everybody deserves a trophy. You know what I'm saying? I believe if you're going to compete, you need to compete. And so one thing I do, my son goes to compete. He handles that dog from the time he opens the dog box, and he handles it till he puts it back in the dog box. It's on him. I mean, now, of course, we go across a deep creek or something, I'd help him out just like I'd help anybody else out on a cast.
Sure.
But I see so many of our kids that are just showing up at these youth hunts that are, man, they're not there, you know, they have no clue, man. And so they don't know the rules. And I'm not saying I'm a rules expert. I learn something new on every cast. But, you know, I want to start something where these kids can come in, and it's just not about to the woods with the dog, if that makes sense. But they come in and learn the rules, whether, you know, 1 month we're learning PKC rules, 1 month we're learning UKC rules, and then take them or pro sport rules or whatever the case may be. And then take them from that classroom setting of learning the rules and put them in the setting where they're handling the dog. They're learning to apply those rules, but also about basic dog care. You know, these kids, they think all it is going up to a hunt and, you know, turn the dog loose and listen to daddy say, strike your dog, tree your dog, you know.
Yeah.
We're going to raise up more coon hunters. We're going to have to start by raising houndsmen. You know what I mean? That can take care of a dog, know how to, you know, keep it fed. What's the importance of feeding it good food, the importance of making sure it's wormed and has its medications, and what to look for when this dog is. And so I believe, you know, we've, you know, all of us together have probably dropped the ball on that when it comes to our youth. And, you know, we complain about, you know, the future of our sport. But, you know, if all we're teaching these kids to do is go to the woods with the dog, then, you know, we're falling short. And so my goal is to, you know, maybe start something up, maybe have, you know, 4 kids come in and spend, you know, 2 months with them, you know, go through a training period and incorporate all that, from caring for the dog to you know, rules, you know, state hunting laws, and then, you know, let them take and apply that to a competition setting.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great idea. I mean, and everything, you got a lot of great ideas. You're doing a lot of great things, and that's why I wanted to get you on here. I knew from when I talked to you that first time about your chest pack and your blue line giveaway that you were doing. I knew that, you know, you had a good heart, and you were coming from a good direction, wanting to help people. And I appreciate that. And I know a lot of people do. And you've said a lot of things here that make a ton of sense. And, you know, one of them being just kind of what you just said. Sometimes we're too easy on our kids. You know, we need to let them fail a little bit and let them learn from their mistakes. And, you know, I've got a daughter who's just a year and a half old. So, we're in the very early stages of that, but, yeah, nonetheless, it'll be that same mindset for me and my wife anyways. We're not afraid to let her fall and make mistakes and hopefully learn from them. So I think that's great. A lot of the stuff you're doing. And I do want to ask you, I seen on Facebook, and we'll tell the people here in a little bit where they can go to find you, but what's the deal with this little coon squaller? I'm really curious. I mean, I'm so curious. This little coon squaller that just you can't even see it, and you're making noise with it. So what's the deal?
It's a secret, man. Hadn't got everything worked out with it yet, but it's very simple. Everything that you know come up with, I try to make it where my kids can use it. If a 9-year-old boy can take a coon squall and walk a coon out of the tree with it, then every grown man ought to be able to. And
absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing more about this thing then.
You haven't seen one like it. I promise you that. And it'll fit in your pocket, and I believe it'll last a long time. And I think you've probably heard my son using it when we were riding in the truck that day.
I did, yeah.
He's pretty good with one. I don't blow one in the woods too much no more. He totes the rifle, blows the coon squall, shoots it out if we need to. And got to eat what I reckon.
Well, I guess tell people where they can go to keep up with you if they want to check out your channel, you know, 4R Kennels or your personal page or whatever. Tell them where they can go to see that secret coon squaller that's ain't out yet.
You can find us on 4R Kennels on Facebook. It's a private group.
Mm-hmm.
I have that for a reason. Not going to allow just any kind of language on any kind of page that we're a part of. And so you can go to 4R Kennels, click to join. We'll approve it. And you know, it's very, very small. Start small, stay small is kind of my motto. You get too many people involved in things, and things can go haywire real quick. And so, but it's a private page, and you got any questions on anything, you can send us a message. We get right back to you. It's me. I guarantee you that my wife ain't gonna respond to none of your coon hunting questions. You know, it's just a little family thing, man, and just something we enjoy doing. There's nothing excites me more than to, you know, see someone get a piece of gear that we put together for them or source out for them and send to them and see them hunting in it, man. That's, you know, I guess if it was a drug, it would be my addiction, man. Just making people happy in the sport and give them something that they can enjoy. Yeah.
Well, I think you're definitely doing that. You are doing a lot of good things for the sport, and I'll say it again. Everyone who's listening or watching, go check out his pages. I think you'll like the stuff there, and like I said, I'm using your belt and the chest pack and the ability for options and changing things around and doing, you know, putting this there or that here. It's a really good system, and I like it. And it's held up well so far for me. So you guys should check that out for sure. And yeah, I really appreciate you coming on here. And if we're getting up on an hour now, so I'll give you the opportunity if you just want to say anything before we close it out, just to shout anyone out or any final thoughts. Go ahead.
I want to just close out with one thing that we push for our kennels, and that's Romans 5:8. The Bible says, "But God commendeth his love toward us, and that while we were yet sinners, Christ died for us." You know, we have this idea that we got to get better and we got to do things right before God will love us, before God will accept us. But the Bible says that he gave his begotten Son for us while we were yet sinners, while we were in our sinful state, while we were at our worst state, while we were his enemy. And so the message that we hope to be able to get across to kids and adults alike is that God loves you. He gave his Son for you. And all you have to do is accept him, repent of your sins, turn away from what you're seeking from in this world, and turn to him. And he will in no wise cast you out because he loves you. That's the main focus of what we do. And we're just grateful for the platform that you've given us today to be able to share what the Lord allows us to do. And man, we're praying for your podcast, that it'll just take off and be everything that you desire for it to be. And once again, we thank you for your kind words, and so many different people to thank. And we're just very, very grateful that the Lord's put so many people in our path.
Yeah, absolutely. I've got to echo that. I'm grateful. The Lord has done tons of good things in my life. My wife and family and this podcast. I'm just hoping that out of all of it, if nothing else, that people will learn something. They'll feel connected to somebody else in a way that, whether it's sharing struggles or sharing success stories with hounds or hunting stories of any kind, and all the guests that come on, I appreciate them, and I appreciate you coming on and sharing your story and how the Lord has impacted your life, and quite a life that you've lived for sure, and you're spending most of your time now trying to push that to others. So I appreciate everything you're doing for the sport. I know a lot of other people do, and I really appreciate you coming on here and just sharing your story. So I'd love to do this again sometime. I'm sure that squalor is going to come out, and I'd like to get my hands on it, and maybe we can do this again and talk about that.
Sounds good. It was an honor, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later.
Yes, sir. You too.
All right, everybody. There you have it. I really enjoyed that conversation. Tons of good information there. If you guys haven't, you really need to go check out their pages, and just doing tons of good stuff for the youth and with the Lord, and I'm gonna be who I am on this channel, and that's who I am. I believe in God, and He saved me, and I put all my trust and faith in Him. So I really enjoyed having him on the podcast today to kind of drive that home, and if you guys have any questions about the products or anything like that from this episode, make sure you send us a text. There'll be a link for that, and like and subscribe to everything that we're doing. And we appreciate all the support, and hopefully we'll have some more good content, some videos of Shy coming up, and more good guests on the podcast. So till next time, see ya.